lesson. So C programming is a structured programming language. And
Yeah,
hello.
I can hear you.
Okay, let's continue. C programming is a structured programming language, and by calling it structured, we means it's whereby you work with modules, modules that are broken down to come up with small subunits, which each subunit will perform a specific task. So in programming, this is just a brief history. We have two categories of programming, low-level language and high-level language. I believe we had covered this before. So C programming falls under high-level programming language, whereby they are more user-oriented. They are not machine-dependent. The moment you code using one machine, you can transfer to another machine. Unlike low-level, for example, binary programming, where we used zeros and ones, binary programming. Then we had assembly programming, where we use assemblers to convert assembly statements to binary. So when it comes to programming, we have three language translators. The first one being the compiler. The compiler, that's what we'll be using in C programming. The moment you write a program in C, you will have to convert to low level. And in our case, we'll be using dev C++. Another translator is the assembler that is used to convert assembly statements to low level language. And the other one is the interpreter. Interpreter also converts high level programming languages to low level, but in this case, interpreter will convert one line at a time. So in our case, we'll be using, I've said we'll be using dev C++. So let's start with our first example. Let me present the screen. So there's a platform, the platform where you'll be writing our codes. So you click File, New Source File. So any C program will have to start with hash. So hash include, then stdio.h, meaning standard input output dot header. Then the main function. Then C statements are supposed to be enclosed within the curly braces. You may declare your variables, but for now we want us just to have a simple example that will display our statements. Welcome to C programming. We'll be using print function. And you're aware, C language is case sensitive. So whatever you'll be typing, you need to be very careful, because for keywords in C programming, the compiler will automatically detect the syntax errors. So printf welcome to C programming. Then this statement is optional. System pause, just to pause the output window. Can use system pause or get ch. Now from there, this is an example of a compiler. We need to compile, execute compile. So we save our file. Let me save it on desktop. I'll call it one.c, meaning we are creating a C source file. So I want us to recall this. In any programming language, we have two types of files: source file and object file. A source file will contain your source codes. The source codes, the ones that you have written in a way that you as a programmer, you can understand. Your machine cannot interpret this directly. So that's why we do compile. We compile to generate an object file. An object file will contain the object codes. These object codes will be in form of ones and zeros. And that's why we have said C is an example of high-level language. Then we'll need to convert to low-level language. So now I'm running my source code. So I've already compiled. I want to Two. We have run. That is the output. Welcome to C programming. Press any statement to continue. Still, now we can modify this statement here. Instead of using system post, we use get ch just to create a new line.
Excuse me.
Ask a question.
I can see what you're doing.
You can see the screen.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Winnie.
Yeah.
Hakuna screen unaona?
Uh-uh.
Unaona nini?
Picha yako tu imepose, alafu kuna loading inasema unaanza screen sharing.
Oh,
Something
not
like
yet.
that.
Okay, sorry. So let me start screen sharing again. And now, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, sorry for that. So this is an example of a C source code, hash include stdio.h header file. Then the main function, we are aware any C program will have four main sections where you start with preprocessor directives. That's the same thing we call header files. Hash include standard input output dot header. Then the main function to inform your compiler that the process of a compilation will start there. Then the key points you are supposed to note: any C program is supposed to be enclosed within the curly braces. The curly braces, the opening one is there and the closing curly brace. Then C language is case sensitive. So any statements that you'll be typing, they are supposed to be in lowercase. We need to consider the keywords. The moment you type the keyword in uppercase, that one will be detected as a syntax error. Then any statement at the end, you terminate with a semicolon. So we compile our source code. Okay, so I need to close this one so that we compile again. So no errors and no warning. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so we run. And that is our first C program output. Welcome to C programming. Next, we may modify, assuming we want to have more than one statement. So I'll copy paste that one. Welcome to C programming. Then CICT module 1. This is CICT module 2. These are two statements. The moment we'll be displaying them, so let's see, compile and run. They are appearing in one line. So which escape character do we use to create a new line in C? Who can tell us? Huh? Winnie, can you remember? Huh? We
No.
use huh?
Uh-uh.
We use slash n. We use backward slash n to create a new line in any C source file. So compile and run. So you can see our two statements are displayed separately in different lines. So this is just an introduction to C programming. How are we supposed to display our statements? How are we supposed to separate them? And also, to create a new term, you may use slash t. These are called escape sequences in C programming. And also, I want us to remember the keywords in C. Keywords are also called reserved words in C programming. And the reason why we call them reserved words is because they have a specific meaning. You'll use them for a specific purpose, not anytime you are writing your code. If you're using a keyword for a specific purpose, then you place it in a long place, that one, or in a long section within your source code, that one will generate a syntax error in your program. So anytime you're creating a C program, I want us to consider the reserved words very careful. For example, here, an example of a keyword is printf, print function. Get ch is also a keyword. Now let us introduce variables in C. A variable in C programming is a memory that you as a programmer that you preserve. You want your program to have that particular memory where you'll store a given value. And anytime you are declaring a variable in C language, you need to consider the data type. You need to consider the data type. For example, in C, a whole number will be stored using the keyword int. Decimal values, we use the keyword float or decimal. Then the characters we use char, combination of characters we use string. So let me use int data type. For example, we can have int A and B. I want us to add two integers together so that we remember the concept of data types and variables in C. So I want us to use initialization directly. So I assume variable A will have 4 as a value, variable B will have 7 as a value. Then we say sum is given as A plus B. A plus B. Then now we display our sum. We display our sum and we say here sum is given as. So in C you will call format specifiers. So for int we use %d. For float we use %f. For string data type we use %s. So this one we have used int data type, so I'll use d %d slash n. Although that one is optional, we do away with it. Then we put let's use /t to create a new tab for spacing. Vertical, this will be a horizontal spacing using new tab. Then we call our variable sum. So let's compile, and first of all we compile. No error, no warning. Then we run our application. And you can see that the sum is, can you see the screen?
Yes.
The sum is given as 11. The two variables that we have initialized. So the first statement there that I have highlighted, that one is called declaration. Variable declaration, int a, b, sum. We have declared 3 variables. The next line, that one is called variable initialization. You initialize, you store a value in a variable. The third line, the same, is called variable initialization. The fourth line, the same. In a memory call sum, what do you want to store there? The addition of variable a and b. And the next line, we are displaying our output. Anyone with a question so far? Anyone with a question? Welcome, Wakero. Any question? Lisa, Winnie, anyone with a question? Yeah, okay. Winnie? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's have another example, example 3, whereby you will prompt the user to input. Here we have initialized directory. If you can recall, anytime you are entering variables in a C program, we use scan function. We use scan function. So I have int a, b, and sum. So I'll do away with a and b because I want to enter. You prompt the user printf, enter two values, enter two values /n, so that you'll start a new line where you will input your values. We use scan function, scanf, so %d, and we said C is case sensitive, so you have to remember that %d percentage D again, because we're entering two values. The first percentage D is for our first variable, the other one format specifier for variable 2. Then where do we want to store the first one? Percentage D is in a memory called A, the other one in a memory called V. So this is called ampersand to reflect your memory, meaning address of A and address of B. So we have not initialized our two values, but in this case we'll have to enter two values. And if you can recall this in C programming, percentage D I had said means format specifier. So I compile and run. So we need to put a semicolon there. That's why there's an error. We compile again. The moment the process of identifying and rectifying errors in a programming, that's what we call it debugging. So in this case, we are debugging our source code. So down there, you can see no errors and no warning. So can you see the black window, Winnie? Can you see the black output window where we have enter two values? Can you see the output window? The screen.
It's just the screen.
Okay, where we have entered the two values.
Mm.
Okay, so we're entering our variables and now we get the output. So in this case, we are not initializing. Our application is dynamic such that now you can input your values. Enter two values, 6, and I've entered 15. So the same case, I can enter different values. So maybe 90 and 23. In this case, we have summers, 113. So that is a brief introduction to C programming. So in summary, I'll say the following. C is a high-level programming language that falls under structured programming paradigm, high-level language. And we have 5 key levels. Low level, we have 5 key. Then low level, we have binary and assembly. High level, we have procedural, and C falls under that category, non-procedural and artificial intelligence. So for C language, that one will be focusing on procedural. And that's what we call programming in form of modular. Stepwise refinement. We'll be breaking our code into some modules. And the two key terms, there are two key terms I want us to recall in programming. We have compilation and coupling. So let's see that. Let me check what is here. Coupling and cohesion, that's what I want us to check. When it comes to cohesion, that one will indicate the relationship between the modules. And we have said C programming involves modular programming. So a good program will need to have the high level of cohesion so that these modules can communicate with each other. Then coupling indicates the interrelationship between these modules. A good program is supposed to have low coupling such that even if one module happens to fail, it cannot interfere with the overall functioning of your application. So in this case, structured programming applies low level of coupling and high level of cohesion. By coupling, we have seen the interrelationship between modules. If one fails, it will not interfere with your application. Cohesion indicates their strength. They can be in a position to communicate with each other. So anyone with a question so far? Any question? Winnie, do you have any question?
I'm good.
Okay, so I will share that summary. Zoom meeting allows it gives us a time limit of 40 minutes. It was supposed to start at 8:30 and end at 9:10. So you only have 2 minutes remaining. And if there is no any question, I will share this video. Those who have not been able to attend our lesson will access this video. I will share it, the audio and the video, and also the summary of what I've discussed with you. So have a blessed day.
You too.
We'll meet tomorrow.
Okay.